around Phonics Entertainment, a mobile DJ company, doing weddings, corporate functions, and school dances in Edmonton. Today I'm doing a video with a fellow wedding professional, photographer I've worked with before, and actually will be working again with on a wedding coming up next year.
Well, my name's Amy, and I own RedTree Photography. We're based in Edmonton, and I've got two other girls that work as associate photographers for me as well. So yeah, we do mainly weddings, but we do families and that kind of thing as well.
Now, we were chatting just before recording about how the photography industry, actually the wedding industry in general, has been impacted by COVID-19. So in that light, do you anticipate being back to work in photography before wintertime?
I sure hope so, because we had a lot of people postpone starting in like November and onward. So we actually have quite a few winter weddings this year, which, I mean, usually we have a handful of them, but now we have lots. So I really hope things are back to normal, so we don't have to do like double postponing.
Yeah, right. When a couple books you for a winter wedding, what is your first piece of advice for them?
Yeah, well, first of all, when I meet with somebody and they tell me they're getting married in the winter, I'm like, well, you must be tough, right? Because this is Edmonton and it's winter. So one thing I say is, I sure hope that if you're getting married in the winter that you're super tough and that you're willing to stay out there and get cold. So I tell people, make sure you're wearing your leggings and make sure you get the Costco-sized, those heat packs for your hands and your feet. Give them to all your bridal party.
Yes.
That kind of thing. They definitely got to be tough.
Kind of going in that vein, you were talking about making sure that they wear leggings. What other kinds of things do you recommend people wear for outdoor photography in the winter?
Well, if it's weddings, obviously you have to hide that stuff. So for the brides, generally they kind of have to have their arms bare anyways. But they do have those nice fur wraps, so some brides will get those. Most people will wear very thick leggings and winter boots, and then put those hot paws in their boots and have mittens along the way to keep them warm because their hands get all red.
Yeah. Now, I know that winter activities or interests are really popular here. Yeah, things like skating or even simple things like just going for a walk in the wintertime. Is that something that you try and incorporate into a winter photo shoot?
You know, usually we incorporate those things more so into the engagement sessions.
Okay.
It's less stressful. You can usually plan your location around it. Like I've definitely had, especially this being Edmonton, I've had a lot of hockey fans, people who have like their hockey jerseys and they want to do some on the pond. So we do Porlac Park a lot if we want some pond things. We had one couple do indoor arena before and that kind of thing. So if they're really into it, I definitely like incorporating it.
Now in winter, we have what, like 4 hours of sunshine? Is there a best time of day to do photo shoots? Do you prefer to do it earlier in the day or when it's closer to dusk?
So like a lot of photographers like to shoot when the sun is at its lowest for obvious reasons, because you end up with like your sunrise or your sunset and you get that kind of golden light, which is beautiful. But honestly, the reason I love winter so much is because I don't have a preferred time. It's beautiful because the sun is so low in the horizon all day that, especially when you're shooting in the valley and that kind of thing, the sun just looks beautiful no matter what time of day it is. Unlike in the summertime where we have a ridiculous amount of sunshine every day. I like to shoot it more in the evenings so that it's not so harsh. Yeah.
Awesome. Have you ever had an issue with rescheduling due to cold temps? You know, like when it's crazy cold like it gets here?
I mean, when it comes to weddings, you've got to just roll with it, obviously. But yeah, when I was first starting in wedding photography, and I mean, for the first few years, I lived in southern Alberta. So I was always like, oh, I'll never reschedule. We'll deal with this cold weather and stuff. And then I moved to Edmonton. And we did one engagement session where it was like -30 with the wind chill. And we're like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll do it. It's frosty and beautiful. But when I brought my cameras back, I burnt my hand on my camera. That's how cold it was.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
20.
-20. Okay.
So it was a little much. So now we cut off at the -20.
So then if you do have to call it quits because of the temp, do you just rebook them for a different time or do you move them indoors?
Yeah, no, usually we'll just reschedule. I mean, I don't mind indoor photos, I really don't. Lots of times, especially if it's personal to the couple, if they met at a coffee shop or something, I love doing stuff like that, like shooting inside for those kind of reasons. But if it's not personal, I don't really like the idea of shooting indoors as much.
Okay.
So usually I'll just reschedule to a day. It's pretty easy to
Yeah.
do that. So
Yeah.
Unless it's a wedding, of course, yes.
It's
then
pretty, can you just reschedule your whole wedding? 'Cause-
yeah.
I've seen some wedding photos from the wintertime that just look washed out. I'm not sure if it's from just too much white in the photos, but what do you do to keep photos from appearing washed out?
So basically what I do, I mean, I think it's just more so getting used to how to shoot in those kind of conditions. But for myself, what I always do is I'll always expose for the highlights. So that means never overexposing anything. Because the thing with photography, and anybody who's into photography, if you overexpose anything, you lose all that detail. So if you underexpose things, especially when you have like very, very bright backdrops, you can bring back the detail at least. So that's usually what you'll do.
Okay.
Is always an option as well, which we
Okay.
do.
And flash helps if there's too much white?
What it helps is, for instance, we do a lot of we'll do a spotlight effect where we'll kind of flash on just the couple and it'll just light them up and it'll set them apart from the whole scene kind of thing.
Okay.
And then it'll show off, say, even if the sky is gray, it'll still show off all of the clouds and stuff. You won't just wash that all out into white.
Oh, nice.
Because I often find winter skies are the most beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of your favorite spots for outdoor winter photos?
So I have lots of favorite spots. Honestly, in general, especially for wedding days, I like to shoot in the valley more because then no matter what the conditions, whether it's really, really sunny or way too hot, you have your shade options. So I really my favorite spots are probably White Mud Creek and Black Mud Creek and Mill Creek Ravine. Those are probably my favorite spots, but I have a list of something like 25 locations that when we're setting an engagement session or wedding, I'll send them links to blogs from all those spots. So it's easy to kind of go through and pick and what they like the best.
I noticed in your blog that you label them with the location of the shoot.
It's easy to search that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So if a couple is looking for something in a particular area, it's easy for them to get ideas.
I mean, I like a lot of urban locations too in Edmonton. There's a lot of nice downtown spots, but in general, when you're shooting in the winter, unless it's the ugly time of winter where there's not a lot of snow on the ground, you want to be showing off the winter backdrop.
Yeah.
If you're gonna freeze, you might as well show off the winter backdrop.
Yeah.
That's generally when we'll do more the White Ave kind of engagement sections or downtown and that kind of thing.
Nice.
And I guess the one thing I didn't really mention is one of the biggest things is when we're doing engagement sessions is what people choose to wear for engagement sessions. I mean, the wedding's one thing. You're obviously, you know what you're wearing for the wedding day.
Yeah.
But for engagement sessions, one thing I really don't like is dark colors when we're shooting. Because I find the dark colors it's way too contrasty and then there's just kind of this dark blob and you don't get all of that, the uniform kind of, the details of the whole image, if you kind of know what I mean. I mean, every photographer is different. I have some friends who prefer black in the winter. So really it's up to the photographer, but that's just kind of more our style or the pops of color that we really, really love.
Yeah.
I noticed in your photography there were a few pops of color, like a red scarf in one, that really caught my eye.
Yeah, I love, and complementary colors are great. So, I mean, obviously in the winter you don't have a lot of complementary colors, but things like fall, choosing your purples or your reds, things like that. So just things that are kind of attractive to see against each other, that kind of thing.
And you advise your clients on what to wear?
I kind of have so I'm very serious about that part of it now because I've made a few mistakes in the past and I won't tell anything specific in case those people are watching. but now I send a list of things, the do's and don'ts of winter or whatever season we're shooting in. And then I also have a Pinterest board of some really good ideas. Most of the time people will send me picture outfit ideas and then we'll kind of play off of that.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's all I have for you. I wanted to thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. It's been awesome. So thank you very much. And if anyone watching wants to get a hold of Amy, you can find her on Facebook at RedTreePhotography.ca on Facebook. And you can also find her on Instagram. Here's her Instagram handle right there.
Awesome.
Right?
Thank you so much.